Hi parents. I just realized that I actually needed to create a video to go over the form so that I can ensure that they are being turned in and completed correctly. Also, please be sure to get these forms in to me ASAP so that I can review them, to call and ask any questions that may need clarification, or to ensure that the project that the students are completing is risk-free. You should have received a form like this, a packet that has several forms in it. There is a form 1, which has the checklist for adult supervision form. You also have a form 2, which is checklist for students. Form 3 is approval form for students, and form 4 is the risk assessment. So when you flip the page, this is basically the guidelines and rules. And so this just kind of tells you, or it does tell you, exactly what the rules and guidelines are for doing a science fair project. And so this is the one that is for the district. So please read it in entirety so that you can ensure that your student does their project correctly. Then it goes on to talk about some safety guidelines. So please be sure to read these as well, because that is something you will need to check off on the checklist. So the very first form is a checklist for the adult sponsor. And you are the adult sponsor for this, because you are going to sponsor your child to complete the project. So on this form, please be sure that you include your child's name, their project name, and you need to check these 3 boxes once you've completed them. The first one is, I reviewed the K-5 fair science fair rules and guidelines. The second one is, I have worked with the student to complete the student checklist and research plan summary. And also, I have worked with the student and parent guardian and have discussed the risk for this project. So please be sure that once you've done those, you've checked them. The next one talks about using some organisms, or using some tissues, or using animals in their project. In elementary school, we do not do those, so please do not check any of those nor use any of them, because we will not be using any animals, any humans, or any tissues or anything of that nature for our project. So please do not do that for our students. As you go down right here, this is just basically telling you to check off that you've completed these. Once you've completed them, then you will be asked to sign down here. Please print your name, and then also sign your name, phone number, and your email. The second form is a checklist for students, and this is the one that you walk through with your students so that they understand exactly what they are doing for their project. So the very first thing is, they would need to have their student name. They are not doing a team project, so they would need their name. They would need to have their grade, also have their phone number. They are not doing a team member, so they do not need to put anything where it says team member. They then need to have your school name, your school county, which is Fulton County. You also need to have your school address, which is 3181 Hogan Road, Atlanta, Georgia. You need to have your school phone number, which is 770-802-8000. Okay. After that, you need to have your school administrator, and your school or Continental Colony school administrator is Dr. Kristen Vaughn. Her name is spelled Kristen, Vaughn, Vaughn. All right. And her email is kristen.vaughn@atlanta.k12.ga.us. Then as you move down, the student needs to enter their project name. They also need to agree that they have read the rules. They need to put down when their experiment started, or when they started collecting their data, and when they would end collecting their data. And just note that when they are doing their project, they should at least test whatever it is that they're doing at least 3 times to ensure the validity, or to ensure that their project gets the same results. Because you may do it the first time and get one result, and then the next 2 times you may get different one. So if you do it 3 times, then of course then you'll know if it will get the same results. And then at the very bottom is just a summary to let the students know that you as the parent are helping them with their project. There is another page for the abstract, and the abstract will be completed at the end of the project, so just skip this page. Then we will move on to approval form for students. And this just tells you that as the student and parent that you understand the risk, you understand the safety, you understand the guidelines. Once you do that, you will have your child sign on the first one. You as the parent will sign on the next one. And then I will sign at the very bottom as the science fair director. You are considered the adult sponsor, so you will sponsor your child, so you can sign in that section as well. But I am the science fair director for our school, so I will sign that one. When you send it back, I will sign it, okay? Now, when you get to the last form, which is the risk assessment, all right? This risk assessment just has you add your student's name, the project title, list any chemicals and things they may be using or any devices, which we shouldn't have a lot of those. Identify any risk that could happen with the project. Depending on what they're doing, what could some of the risks be? Describe the safety precaution procedures that you will use to reduce this risk. Describe the disposal procedures that will be used. So if you're doing a project that involves, like, let's just say they color water for some reason, and they're coloring water, and let's say we put on gloves so that the dye will not touch their fingers, you can actually include that as your disposal, that you would dispose of the gloves in the trash can after the experiment. And then lastly, list any sources for the safety. List any sources of safety information. I apologize, phone was ringing. And then down here at the very bottom, that is where you assign, and that is all you will need to do for your forms. Once you send those forms back to me, what I will do is I will go through them and I will read them. I am adding tabs for if there are parts that are incomplete, or if there are some questions I may have. I will tab it and I will contact you, or I will discuss it with the student to see if there's something that I can do to help, or if there is something I need clarification on. But other than that, that is all we have. And this is what we will do for our forms that we will need for the science fair. Students will not be able to go to the district fair without these completed. So if your child wins, it is very important that we have these completed and they're completed correctly, okay? So if you have any question, please contact me at stephanie.golden@apsk12.org, or call me at the school phone number. And please, please, please do not submit any projects until November the 9th. But if you want me to review them or you have questions, don't hesitate to let me know and I can provide you some feedback. Thank you and enjoy your experimenting.